I hope this piece of information is helpful for anyone watching this who's, like learning about what it's like to be a migrant, learning about what it's like to move away from home or to uproot or to try something new in life. There's lots of things that you feel excited for and you look forward to. But at the same time, you also have this emotion that you bear that usually doesn't get talked about a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if you watched this video, I introduced you to Michelle, also known as Echolily. Like me, she's a Malaysian migrant who now lives in Melbourne, Australia. Through our day, not only did I learn that she possesses a unique set of skills as a medical practitioner and a music producer, but her pursuits through migration and the circumstances she faced through that journey resonated quite deeply with me in a way that could benefit anyone who has, at one point, thought about the journey of migration for themselves. As human beings, at times we dream about what life could be like if we took that dangerous leap out of our comfort zone in pursuits of self-elevation. Yet, for those who could not, I believe we sometimes try to live vicariously, thinking about how the grass is greener on the other side. So in this video, I wanted to share with you the conversation Michelle and I shared about the similarities we face in our growth as human beings, the collective struggle we share as migrants, and the lessons we learn in search of our own fulfillment. I hope this video gives you a way to prepare yourself if you're ever in a position to decide upon migration as a life journey. So I hope you enjoy. Like there's a lot of things you don't really get a chance to talk about as a migrant because most people just won't understand. It's so hard to communicate the nuances of balancing family who's overseas, balancing a new life and a pursuit for the future. Whether it's career, whether it's relationships, whether it's just your passions, like these are things that people can relate to. But then to balance that with everything of your past and not lose sight of that.
Yes. What are the conflicts, Adam? Is it more like, oh, because you've left, you're not patriotic, but then at the same time, we're both here because I guess we envision a different or quote-unquote better life of some sort, or chasing happiness, etc.
Yeah.
But do you think that's part of the conflict?
I definitely think so. Yeah. I think because it's not like we've traveled because we need to escape somewhere that's dangerous. Like we're doing this to pursue a life that has meaning, but through that there's also meaning in the past of our lives. There's meaning in the people that grew up with us, that shared stories with us, that became a part of who we are. But at the same time, now that we're sort of away from them, we still have this, or I feel like I still have this thing I need to prove. Yeah. Whether it's to myself or just even through the stories they hear, that things are great, like despite having to be in a different place from you, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I basically call Melbourne my second home now, and I have a lot of very cool Australian friends, but they probably won't understand fully, what you and I, Adam, were going through, like, having to worry about our family back home.
Absolutely.
And at the same time, trying to live our life here.
Absolutely.
I don't know about you, but there are a lot of things that happened to me, growing up in Malaysia and as a doctor being trained fundamentally in Malaysia. A lot of those things shaped who I am today. And I feel like perhaps I won't be able to achieve the things that I've achieved, now in Melbourne for the past 6 years, if it weren't for the years that I had in Malaysia.
I think you shared with me something today in our conversation where you're saying, like, in Malaysia you sort of reached a career ceiling a little bit. Do you think that's to do with the culture of Malaysia and maybe potentially being female?
Oh gosh.
Does that sort of tie into place? Because obviously in Australia, equality is a lot more talked about, gender equality and gender diversity. Do you think that's part of your process of like thinking like maybe being a female doctor in Malaysia?
First of all, I have to say that being in this unique position of having worked and lived in both two different countries. Yeah. Whilst yes, it is more talked about, diversity and equality more talked about here, I feel like we still have a lot of work to do. even in Australia,
Yeah.
I feel. I don't think that was the reason I moved. Career ceiling. I guess we all have that little expectation for ourselves, and it's very unique and it's very individualistic. I certainly have friends in Malaysia who have soared in their careers just by staying in Malaysia, and that's something to be said about people who stayed and continue to contribute and continue to soar in their own way.
Yeah.
But that wasn't what I wanted for myself. So I think it's a very, very, very personal and very individual thing. But I definitely felt that I needed to move, and I felt sort of academically, emotionally, mentally, I needed to move.
Okay.
Yeah, and I did, and it was definitely one of the best decisions that I've made for myself. Yeah.
Well, that's so good
and
to
the
hear.
people who love me and people who care about me would understand my decision and support that.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing.
Yeah. No, it's really good that to have people to support a decision like this, especially having parents who still live in Malaysia.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat here as well. For some people to even comprehend, like, how can your parents are getting older? Like, how don't you think about them? Like, you think they'll be okay? And I've thought I had to balance a lot of this myself as well. I think the way I see it is like they're still able-bodied people. At any point in time, if it ever came to it, and if they did need my help, I would have to drop what I have and help them if they needed the help. Because I feel like I owe a lot of my life and the successes I had in my life because of them.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like everything I do in life, like it's, I'm still trying to make my mom proud. Like, it's like, it goes into everything every decision that I make, everything that I do. I'll be thinking about, is she going to be happy with this? Maybe it's an Asian thing.
I think it's
Asian parenting style.
Maybe it's Asian parenting style, but like it's ingrained in a lot of the family values that we grew up with. And I think in general, human beings, when you have strong family values at its core, in terms of through the community, through yourself, through the actual connection of family, like you will ultimately feel that way.
Yeah, and that's good. I think that's a good thing.
I personally feel proud about it.
Yeah.
Why Melbourne though? Like, of all the places to sort of like travel to or migrate to, why did Melbourne stand out?
I was here because of what I was studying at the time. As part of a sub-specialization program in medicine. So it was a lot of research about which college would fit me best. And I found Australia, and the office is in Melbourne. So I came to Melbourne to sort of find out more. And at the time it was so much easier to jump in a plane and travel. Not anymore, which is sad and a different topic. But yeah, so then I had the chance to walk around the city and explore. I mentioned before that my brother's in Sydney. So I went to Sydney for a while, did a bit of comparison, and I think Melbourne is so much better than Sydney. I sort of put it out there. Melbourne's better.
Great. I agree.
and I thought, I could see myself living here. So fast forward, I got onto the program, passed the exam, and moved my life to Melbourne. So I got a job offer and took it and moved.
So prior to that, you didn't know much about Melbourne?
Not really. I knew that it's a city of arts. Music city, and I know that the coffee is good.
Yeah. Okay.
And I also knew that in terms of the medical world, we have some of the best hospitals in the world. And actually, we're sitting just in front of the Royal Children's Hospital, which is easily the top few pediatric hospitals in the world.
Yeah.
And I told myself, this is where I want to be in my career as a doctor and academically as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so sort of put two into music and medicine sort of seems like the best place to be for me.
Yeah. It has two very. I didn't know that about the medicine field here in Melbourne. And that's actually so cool. Meeting you today, I've learned so much about your journey here in Melbourne.
No, and you,
and learn about like your journey, not just in your career in medicine, but in music. I talked about earlier, a lot of the tracks we use in today's video is by Echolily. Be sure to check out Echolily on Spotify, because there's only 3 tracks online right now. You've only released 3 tracks, but it's already picked up in some sort of momentum where people are listening and enjoying the music you make. And I think that says a lot about your ability to put your heart in your music, but not just that, but the work of sharing it with people. I got interested in the idea that you're a musician, let's collaborate together. But you have this thing that you're trying to share through your music, which is, if you have a listen to it, you'll understand. Like, it's a really good piece of work.
Thank you. Music really helped, because I find that when I started to want to do music here, I actually put myself out there in Melbourne, and I feel like Melbourne has this energy that allows you to do things like that, that allows you to, that is so welcoming, that you can do what you want to do here, that if you have enough passion for it, people would relate and people would connect with it. And that's certainly the way it is for music. And now finding my own sound, which is this sort of down-tempo electronica sound that I found by creating sounds with the synthesizers and the keyboards and things that I never ever thought about doing when I was in Malaysia. And again, it's not about the place. I feel it's about that feeling, that own personal growth, that you can feel yourself evolving. And Melbourne just happened to be that place for me. Yeah. As soon as I found like my sound and I wanted to create and wanted to produce, I met even more friends that are very happy to help me discover sort of my own thing and my journey, and sort of be very helpful sort of in my journey of making music. And now we are 3 songs into the process, and more to come, and it's very exciting, and find the people that you can talk about this with, like in terms of being an immigrant in a foreign country, and also just submerge yourself into growth, into personal development and in growth. And then through that, if you have enough passion for it, like people would notice, and people would want to be around you. Yeah. I think that's how I have, like I said, I have a really close-knit group of friends now, and I'm very, very grateful for them. And we are from all walks of life and all different countries. Did you have any sort of expectations prior to coming to Melbourne, like what life would be like? Like, sort of, did you think the grass would be greener here, that sort of thing? And then was that debunked? Like, was the reality of it different than your expectations? Oh, first of all, it wasn't exactly, I wanted to come to Melbourne because, the grass must be greener there. It's what I felt like I needed to do sort of for myself. I needed to like elevate my own life experience in that sort of, that per se. So in that aspect, yes, I think I hit all my expectations. In fact, I think I exceeded a little bit, especially in terms of my career. I think I'm very lucky to be able to work in now 2 really good hospitals, in Melbourne, and yeah, that in that sense, I definitely exceeded my own expectations. But there are other things as well, and I thought that it would be easier to make friends, to make sort of meaningful friendships, and it's actually quite hard, especially coming over like as an adult. I find that it was very lonely at first, because everyone has their own cliques and their own friends. Most people are partnered up or have families, and no one really go beyond hanging out after work. So I felt like there was a bit of loneliness there, and I think it's different maybe for you and for my brother in Sydney, because he came to Sydney when he was in uni and things like that. So when you're young and you meet other sort of people in uni, I guess it's easier to make friends that way, because you don't have your cliques yet at the time, and you didn't really have full-formed cliques. Yeah,
absolutely. I think definitely part of my privilege of having a chance to live in Melbourne was coming here for school and getting to meet people early on in life. That sort of sustained a little bit of, like, these friendships, the meaningful ones sort of sustained throughout the years, and I still see a lot of my schoolmates, like, who I've met, who I've now known for like 15 years or so.
There you go. And I think that in that part fell short a little bit of my expectations. I thought it would be so good. It would be like all the movies that I've seen. You go overseas, and then you fall in love, and you know, you have all this group of friends, and it's actually was a lot of loneliness there. So whilst I was hitting all my goals, career-wise and academically, I was, you know, I found myself feeling quite lonely.
And that's absolutely normal, actually. It is unique to your experience, and it's unique to someone who's had to uproot themselves and rebuild life in a new country, let alone a new community. And as an adult, it is so much more difficult, like so much more difficult. I can't even stress this, to create meaningful relationships, because everyone's already found their pockets of meaning. And to branch out of that is, like, it's a two-way street. Even if you may want to do that and you want to create the meaningful relationship, if the other person doesn't give you that hand to hold on to, like, there's nothing you can do about it. It really is, that's just the way life goes. Thanks for being so honest with me, like, in that regard. I think that's a very important thing to know as a migrant. Like, it's not all like rainbows and butterflies and bed of roses. Like, it is. Like, you think it's easy to make friends, but a lot of times people have their own life journeys as well, going through whatever they're going through. And you can't expect people to create space just for you, just because you have space in your life.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have to understand that everyone's going on a different journey.
Exactly, and just because you're on this, you know, wonderful journey and you're so excited about it, but people can't necessarily relate to it. Yeah.
I think that you are a testament to that sort of energy that you say you feel, but you're also reciprocating that energy, because you're open enough to try and share what you're creating, what you mean, like what you're trying to express with people. And evidently now you're getting a response in terms of whether it's people listening to music, but also connecting you to people who have more meaning in your life. You know, it sounds they sound like very meaningful people, which is incredible. If you found this insightful, please leave a like on this video. This level of honesty isn't something I take for granted, and I am so grateful to Michelle for being so open and sharing her experiences through this unique journey of migration. Personally, despite feeling more secure than I've ever felt before, migration has and always will be a part of my life's journey, and I feel fortunate enough to achieve some level of success through it. I think it's important to acknowledge that not everyone will ultimately feel similarly, and no matter what happens in your life journey, if you do it in pursuit of love, know that you're on the right path. So before we parted, I asked Michelle to share a piece of advice for anyone watching this who may need a little inspiration in their life journey. If there's one piece of advice that, like, if someone had to go through your sort of journey, like, what sort of things should they think about that you wish you knew before you came here?
Go with the expectation to improve yourself, you know, and be excited about this journey of self-escalation and personal growth, and that have less expectations on how others might feel about your journey, and that you know, along the way, if you focus on your own growth and your own goals and aims, and you have enough passion for it, like, people would be attracted to that energy, and you'll find your people. And at the end of the day, that's what matters the most, I think.